So we're going to create a map. This is our very first map. Sometimes, for some of you, it'll be your very first map. Other people who've made maps before, why are you even watching? Anyway, we're going to create a room. It's going to be a fairly big room. Doesn't really matter, because we're not really going to be playing a map. One thing I should add here, if you're mapping, have an idea for your map before you ever start Hammer. Know what you're going to do, graph it out. Don't do like I do and just throw stuff on there, it'll break, it won't work. We wanted to set our texture here to no draw, just type no, D-R-A-W. It'll pull up right here. It'll say here, our box tool, we created a box. You right click and you create it. If we use the camera, point at it, it'll show us we have a room. Well, we have a box. Because it's not a room, it's not hollow. We're going to make it hollow real quick and dirty. Now we have a quick and dirty empty room. You can click on the camera, click in here. You can use your mouse to look around. WSA and D, move back and forth. So in our room we have to have a spawn point. And in the spawn point, we're going to scroll in. We're going to set our grid a little bit differently. We're going to go to this tool over here. It's the entity tool. We're going to right click on it. It's left click. Right click and say create object. Currently it's set as a light, but we don't want it to be a light. We want it to be a spawn. So DYS spawn point. It's the Punks HQ, and apply. And that creates a spawn. Now it's sort of floating in the air right now. It's off the screen. It's not good. It's never good when things are like that. I'm just going to set it down here on the floor, put it in the corner, make sure it's not touching any walls. We call that leaking. Leaking is bad. It's not leaking. We're going to go over here, and we're going to create another one. We're going to scroll out, go over here, select our entity tool, create an entity, use our selection tool, set it to be a spawn point, and make this one number 2, because this is going to be a core point. And you'll see it's in the wrong place in the wrong part of the room. So we're going to put it right there. We have a punk spawn over here, core spawn over here. However, the game still doesn't know that it's punk or core. We have to create an entity to tell it that. So we go back to our entity tool, create an object. What I'm doing is hitting Alt-Enter on that. You can also right click and say properties. And we need to make it a spawn point. Excuse me, a spawn. Those other ones we made are points. Make it DOI spawn, punks HQ. Now this one obviously needs to go over by the punk spawn. And you'll see it floating over here off the screen. It'd be a leak at this point. Leaks are bad. Somewhere around it. Doesn't have to be right over it. I like to put it right over it. At least for this today. Over here we need to make a spawn point over here. Create an object. Properties. DYS spawn. Spawn number 2 because that one's number 2. Set it for a core. And apply. You should always name your entity. Core spawn 1. Move this way over here by the core spawn. You'll see it up here on the screen now. Save your work often, because if you don't, Hammer crashes, you lose your work. Now, obviously, we can't have a room that's painted with no draw because it wouldn't show up. So we go to our texturing tool here. We're going to use developer textures, DEV, for our filter. Brings it up. We're just going to use a 32 by 32 crate texture for now. Doesn't really matter. We're going to select our faces, holding Control key down to select multiple faces, and apply. Spin our camera around. We've got another wall that's not done yet. Bring our texture tool back up, highlight your face, apply. Now you'll see we have a room that's textured in orange. On the outside it's a no draw. And there you have it, except for one little thing, and that is light. If you don't have light, your players can't see what they're doing. So we've just created a light bulb. It'll be off the map, right here in the side of the room. We're going to copy it, paste it special one time, and move its copy over here. So now you'll see we have a light here and a light there. Two lights. The other thing you need to have to make sure that players can, or that the game client can see it, is you need to create an entity up in a corner somewhere looking over the room. Right click on that, or right click properties, or Alt Enter, and we're going to do info camera start. And this is so that when we start the map, this is what the player will see before they spawn. Now you'll see it's pointing towards the wall. We can move it around as much as we want. Point it down, point it up. Heck, we could make it upside down if we wanted to. Doesn't really matter. We'll just leave it pointed at the wall. What I'm doing is undoing it. So there you have it, basic map. You'll see I changed my view up here, and I pointed the camera to the middle of the room. We're going to save our work. We're going to say run map. We're going to compile it and see how things go, see if it works. It doesn't take too long. This is a really small map. One thing you do want to check for is up at the top here. Make sure that there's nothing that says leaked. Once you're done with that, the compile's over. You go to Dystopia, create a server, load your test map. And you'll see we're looking over the room with our camera. We're going to select a team. 80-second spawn, we're going to change that. MP start delay 0 map underscore restart. And here we are. I am a core. I'll change over to punk. And I'm at the punk spawn. We have a basic map. Nothing fancy, nothing neat. It's orange, but it's a map.